This will be my 8th year. I do high school and some middle school.
Great. Okay, good. It's good timing then.
Well,
Yeah,
glad to have you. Glad to have you on board.
thank you.
What else would be? Hey, I wanted to ask,
No,
Jeff,
Raise your
no.
meeting?
who was on the call last night with the, yeah, how was it? What'd you think, Richard?
It's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's and you know, it's engaging. It's everybody's receptive. I mean, you know, there's some, you know, grand minds
Oh, yeah.
running the show. And
Oh, yeah.
it was great to hear you discuss some various elements, because as much as there might be some people that want to ask their question, I guess it's a little it'd be a little intimidating to just try to chime in. So thanks for being the voice.
Well, you know, I've gotten to the point where in my career where, you know, probably 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I would have never done that because I would have been so nervous. And even though I am an interpreter for WCBOO in the state of New York, you know, I don't know everything 110%. And I think I do. And so some of those questions, like Carl and I were talking, I still think I'm not so sure about those answers, you know? So, but so I'm at the point in my career where I'm going to ask because I can. And, you know, Joe Vasili, Stephanie Barksdale, they are on our WCBOO education team. So, I mean, that's what we're dealing with. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So, but yeah, those study groups are amazing. So I know I was like, Dee Kantner was at, you know, and she's like, Sherry, think of it this way. And I was like, oh my God, she used my name, you know, like, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
You know what I really liked about it was that there were a few people who volunteered to answer questions, and they got the questions wrong, but nobody berated them.
Right.
Nobody insulted them. Nobody made them feel like they were inferior to anybody else.
Right.
You know, there was the one girl that got, I think the first 2 questions she got it wrong, and Joe Vasili came in and he was like, hey, wait a minute, let's go over that. Let's talk about that answer and see why you came to that answer. And that was great. And I'm not going to say Joe's a personal friend of mine, but I've seen Joe at many camps. We've been on many Zooms. And just how he was on that class is how he is in person.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a guy that's done numerous Final Fours, numerous championships, numerous NCAA tournaments, right? I mean, his head should be like this big, right?
It's
But
not.
it's not. He's such a humble person. He's such a great resource.
Yeah.
And you know, it's great that he's on the Northeast Study Group, and we're so happy to have him. And hopefully we'll be lucky enough to have him on one of our calls one night. And you can see for yourself what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, that's great. Okay. So let's start with questions. Was everybody able to do the first 2 modules, or has everybody done the modules? Yes.
All right. So
Done the modules. I haven't done the second test.
Okay, but you've done the first one?
Yeah, I've done the first test and done the second module.
Okay. Wait a second. I apologize, but Andres, is he new, Carl?
I think it's just Andre.
Andre?
Yeah.
Andre.
iPad.
Are you
But
new?
yeah, I don't think he's been with us before.
I've been with you before.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
okay.
All right. So what questions do we have for module 1? Any? Everybody got 100%? Rick,
Come
you
on,
got
there's got
100%?
to be something somebody struggled on.
Quick question, a few questions. Oh,
Good.
sorry.
Go ahead,
Like-
Justin.
Go ahead, Justin.
So when do we reset the shot clock to 30? When do we set it to 20 and all those functionalities?
Oh, that's
Great
a loaded
question,
question.
Justin.
That's a loaded question.
Sarah, you want to take it or you want me to take it?
Sure, I'll start out. So we know that anytime there's a change of possession, that the shot clock operator is going to reset the shot clock to 30. Okay. Anytime there is a foul in the back court, the clock shot will be set to 30. It gets tricky once the offense gets into their front court. Once the offense gets into their front court and they shoot the ball and it hits the rim and they rebound the ball, it is now the shot clock is set to 20. So anytime the offense shoots the ball, it hits the rim, they rebound it, it's set to 20. Because the thought process is you don't need that extra 10 seconds to get up the court. You're already there. So that's kind of how you have to think about it. Now, if the team A is in the front court and they're dribbling and they're passing it around and there is a foul by the defense or a kicked or fisted ball, the shot clock is going to be set to either 20, or if it's above 20, say they get the ball over to the front court at 25 and now there's a foul, it will stay at 25. Whatever is more, 20 or above, it will change to that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I have one more question too from one of the slides.
Sure.
It talked about the uniform. It said a player's sleeves must be the same length. That was the first part. Then it said it is legal for some players to have short sleeve undershirts while teammates have long sleeve compression shirts.
Yes.
Correct.
And Carl, why
So
don't you
what
take that? And we're going to show some pictures, but go ahead, Carl.
So what that's saying, Justin, is if one player is wearing a long sleeve shirt, like if you can see my shirt is long sleeve, right?
Yes.
I can't have one long sleeve. Well, I sleeve that one long sleeve and one short sleeve.
Okay.
All right. But if me and you are on the same team and I'm wearing a long sleeve undershirt that matches my jersey, you want to wear an undershirt, you can wear a short sleeve undershirt. But again, both sleeves have to be short sleeves.
Okay.
All right. So they can't have one cut off sleeve and one long sleeve.
Got you.
And the other thing is when you do wear a long sleeve, it has to be compression and tight to the arm. It can't be a long sleeve t-shirt that's loose.
Got it.
You know the difference? Right, G?
Yes.
He's saying yes. That's good, G. My water.
And be careful when you adjudicate that, because look, especially on the girl side, you know what, some players are a little bit slimmer than others. However, in college, you have equipment managers, so they should get uniforms or extra apparel that will fit their players. So compression, a long sleeve, it really should be tight to the player. All right, a short sleeve shirt, it can be a little looser, a little, bigger, but if it's long sleeve, it should be compression, it should be tight.
And I think we have some pictures on illegal uniforms, but yeah. Will, you have your hand raised. Does that answer your question, Justin?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Yep. What if there's like a discrepancy with like the scorebook, like individual and something needs to be corrected and like they forget to be corrected? Because I saw this was like one question we had.
Okay. So as the referee at the beginning, prior to the game, when we go over to the table and talk to the table, we designate a official scorebook. Whether it's the home book, it's usually the home book. Doesn't always have to be the home book, because if you have an adult and you have a child that's doing the rule book, you might have a sixth grader doing a rule book. You might want the adult to be the home book and they could be the visiting team. So anyway, you designate a home book. The referee will go to the table, they will talk to the table, see what the mistake is or the correction is. If there's definite knowledge by the official, it can be changed that way. Or if the table has definite knowledge, we can change it that way. And if no one has definite knowledge, Will, then the home scorebook will be what we go by. Does that answer your question? Yeah, I like that. Like that. Okay, any more questions?
There's got to be more. There's got to be more. Go ahead, G. You
Yes.
look like you're about to say
Yes, G, come on.
Sorry, Becky, me first. So this is a very stupid question. So
Not
the
stupid
girl,
question.
No questions are stupid, G.
okay, yes.
The only stupid
So
question is the one you asked.
the girl playing tuck the jersey under her bra and kind of like show her middle part, which is I kind of like, okay, that's not safe, but I kind of, I don't think my answer is quite right. And another time was, the player like to pull the pants over the waist and then roll it in. And then sometimes it even show the glute, what it means, like half, like teenager nowadays. So what kind of, that solution, it's not a sportsmanship, of course, but am I like old classic people, to like, it's okay now? I'm like, yeah, with you.
Well, first of all, I'm way older than you, so no to that answer. Second of all, if you feel that deems that is unsafe for the player to have their shirt, they should not have their shirt tucked up under their sports bra so that their belly can be they can see. That's not safe. That's not safe. So that's what you tell the player. Okay. It's not safe. You need to tuck your shirt in. As far as them rolling their pants, that's fine. Everyone does it. That's a big thing. The only thing that we need to be aware of is that if that one roll exposes the labels around the uniform, if it has multiple labels around it, if it has Nike, 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 Nike around it, or Under Armour, Under Armour, that is illegal. We know that we're only allowed to have one, correct? So they either need to make another roll or they need to roll it back up. Either way. Or what I tell the girls, because this uniforms are usually very big on them, I just say, take your shirt out and fold it over so that we cannot see the waistband of the short. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, great. Great. And you had a question about the ball, G? You're good with that answer with the ball?
Oh, the one that you emailed me? Yes.
The backboard.
Right.
The backboard, right?
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, good. Right, Becky, you have a question, Beck?
Yes, going back to the shot clock. Who has responsibility of the shot clock?
As far as officials?
Yeah, is that
Everybody.
sitters? Is that trails?
We all do.
Okay.
Everybody. So anytime that anytime that any one of us blows our whistles, all of our eyes should shoot up to the shot clock for a quick instant to get what it is. We are always looking at the shot clock. I don't mean like staring. Go ahead, Carl.
Every time you blow the whistle, you should take a peek at the clock and the shot clock and the game clock to make sure it stops. Every time a ball is inbounded, you should take a look at the shot and the game clock, to make sure it started. And we have a couple of plays that we're going to show you tonight, and they're actually my plays. And we're not going to. I'm not going to say too much about them, but we have a couple of plays where we're going to show plays where we have clock issues and shot clock issues. But I remember reading an article in Referee Magazine, and the referee that wrote it, I can't remember his name, high-level D1, he was actually on the men's side, but he said every time he crosses a line in the court, if he's the old lead going to new trail, when the ball is inbounded and he crosses that backcourt end line, he looks up at the clock. When he crosses that backcourt free throw line, he looks at the clock. When he crosses the division line, he looks at the clock. Every line he crosses on the court, he looks at the clock. and that gives you a good idea of where the clock is at. Obviously, if the clock is running, where the clock is at. So if you have an issue with the clock, you kind of know where you were or know where it was where you were, and you can fix it. So the clock is everybody's responsibility. So if me, Sherry, and Andre are on a game and I call a foul, I look at the clock, and I'm also hoping that Sherry and Andre look at the clock. Because you know what? If I call a foul, I may have to keep my eye on that action that's going on with the foul, because there could be extracurricular activity, right? So I'd hope Sherry and Andre look at the clock to make sure that the clock stops when it's supposed to stop.
Yeah,
So the shot clock and the clock are all of our responsibilities. Go ahead, Will.
yeah,
I'm sorry. What question was that?
Becky's.
Becky,
Yeah,
did that answer your question?
Yeah, and wait a second, Will, and it takes a long time, Becky, to get used to doing that. You have to train yourself to do that. It takes a really long time. I mean, and that's something I continue to work on, because I can't remember all the time. And I'm not a numbers person. So for me to do the math in my head going up the court, that's hard. If I have to make a timing mistake and do that substitute math, that's not good that I'm going to be doing that.
So to continue on with that, when you said coming up the court, do you in college have a 10-second count, or you just go by the clock?
We go by the clock unless it's under,
Unless there's less than 30 seconds left in the quarter.
Right, unless there's 30 seconds left in the quarter and the ball's coming up, then we do a visual count. But yeah, I mean, we've got to look up, and if it's 32 or 7:32, we got to go, all right, so it's 7:22 when that 10 seconds is going to be. So you're constantly talking to yourself. You're having full conversations with yourself on the court all night long. It's exhausting. It truly is. It truly is.
Yes, and I can speak to that. Even like I've gotten to the point where I'm not great at it, but I've gotten to the point where I know the splits, right? If the game clock is at 7:50, I know our 10-second violation is 7:40. I know our 30-second violation or shot clock violation is at 7:20, right? I've gotten to that point where I can do that. I've gotten to the point where if the game clock is at 7:18, I know, all right, 6:58, that's a shot clock violation. Or if we're at 7:08, it's a 10-second violation. So, and that's a great point, John. Self-talk is a great thing. There's nothing wrong. And hey, even off the court, shoot, I talk to myself while I'm driving sometimes. All right. Self-talk is a great thing, and it's a great thing to keep yourself engaged in the game. All right. What was my game? My game clock was at 7:03. All right, 7:03. 6:53, shot clock, 10-second violation. 6:33, shot clock violation. All right. And this is stuff that we need to know, because when the coach says, hey, what the clock didn't start in time. Coach, the ball was inbounded at 7:03. The game clock now reads 6:33. The shot clock and the game clock both started on time, or they were running. The game clock was running. The shot clock started on time. That was 30 seconds. I had definite knowledge of that, Coach. Right. So self-talk is definitely a great thing.
Yeah.
And just going off the shot clock, like with the shot clock violation, should the lead call it when they're on strong side ball, and like the center call it when when the play is on their side, strong side?
Anybody. That a shot clock violation is one play that I would say if we have more than one whistle, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
But to his point, Will, it's easier for the trail and the C, or in a 2-person game, just the trail. But in a 3-person game, the trail and the C to see the clock better than the lead. The lead can see it if they're looking at the other end of the court. But so most likely that's going to come from the trail or the C. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Was that your question?
Yep. Thank you.
Anthony. Anthony has a question.
I do. Thanks, Sherry. My question is with regard to the lower defensive box, the imaginary box.
Ooh, all right.
Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead. I like it. Go ahead.
I'm at a loss. Well, what's the purpose? What is the intention of knowing about that?
Okay,
The
what,
purpose,
what level do you do, Anthony?
High school.
Okay. Okay,
What?
so, well, I'll start off and then you can finish, Carl. So in high school, the lower defensive box and the RA does not come into play. It is not part of the high school game. It is only part of the college game. So do you want to expand on why it is? And yeah, go ahead, Carl. I mean, I can,
absolutely.
but go ahead.
So the purpose of the LDB, it's more for the LDB and the ARC go hand in hand. All right. So let's talk about if a play starts within the LDB, right? So the LDB actually goes from the tick marks up to the third lane line mark, right, Terry?
No, yeah. It's not all the way up.
Second lane line mark.
It's the
Yeah,
second.
the top.
second mark, yeah.
So it goes,
From the
it
top.
goes from the tick mark up to the second mark and across the lane. So if a player starts their move to the basket within this area, the RA is off, which means a defensive player and a secondary defensive player can establish legal guarding position inside the arc and draw an offensive foul. All right. If the player starts their move above or outside the LDB area, right, a secondary defender cannot establish inside, on, or over the RA. And I should have mentioned that in my first description, right? Inside, on, or over the RA and be legal, right? Even if they were 2 feet on the ground, facing the ball handler, dribbler, if they're inside of that RA, on it, or over it, meaning they jumped, right, or on their tippy toes, they're illegal, as long as the offensive player started their move outside of the LDB.
I lost you, Carl. Sorry. So
It's
It's
all
I
right.
lost you.
It's all right.
We're
Well,
gonna
you know
go
what?
over this more extensive when we get to that in the other module. But
And I have a bunch of plays that show RA LDB plays, so we'll get to that. But that was a great question. Who was that? John?
no.
No, Anthony. That was a great question. I see you're reading a little bit ahead, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
And John said that they have it in South Dakota, so that's pretty awesome. John, can you
High
tell us a
school?
little bit about it and like when did it come into play? John?
Yeah. The RA we've probably had in high school for about 3-4 years, maybe. We don't have the lower defensive box on, like on the girls' side or anything, but it's just like the 4-foot restricted area. Or
So how do
Yeah,
you use it? Then how does it come in play?
what's that?
So how does it come in play?
It comes in play just like on the men's side.
Oh, so you
The
don't use it on the girls' side?
The NCAA men's side doesn't use the LDB, so they probably
We don't
follow the
use
NCAA men's side.
We just call a normal regular secondary defender in the arc if it would block if they're trying to draw a charge
Okay,
or player control.
okay. So this
So
was put in,
it's like on the normal on the men's side,
okay,
just no lower defensive box.
okay. Okay.
And the men's NCAA, the men's RA rule is a lot different from the women's RA rule. Because again, like John mentioned, the men don't have the LDB.
Oh, they don't?
No,
No,
I did, okay, I did not know that. I did not know
they
that.
don't have the LDB.
Oh,
And the
so
men
we
don't
had
even
to make it
follow
more
the fact
complicated.
that the men, I was doing a game recently with a men's college official, and we had the RA, and there was a player that was standing on top of the RA. He was on the line. and he called the block. And the player was like, "What? I was legal." And he said, "No, you weren't. You were on the RA. Had you jumped, you would have been legal." So I engaged him in that question. I said, "Well," I said, "you told him if he jumped, he would have been legal." He said, "Yeah." I said, "That doesn't make sense to me." He was like, "Why?" I said, "Because in women, if you're in, on, or over, you're illegal." And he looked at me and he was like, wait. He was like, "My mind is blown right now. I just want to forget what you said and never say that to me again." So I was like, "All right, you know what? One day we'll sit down and we'll talk." But yeah, the men's RA rule is different from the women's. We got
Okay.
2 questions. We got 2 hands raised, Sherry.
Okay, great. So
Remember the
Richard,
RA is a secondary, not just a-
Say it again.
The RA is
Yeah.
a secondary defender, not the
Secondary defender.
correct.
Right. If a primary defender is legal and they're moving legally and they're in the RA and there's contact, that can still be ruled as an offensive foul, men's or women's.
Has to be
But
secondary.
if a secondary defender cannot establish legal guarding position in the RA, especially on the women's side, if the play started outside the LDB. If the play starts inside the LDB, look, how can that player have time to get out of the RA if the play starts below that second lane line mark? They don't have time. So it's not fair to the defense. So that's where the LDB came into play.
And for G, the secondary defender, what that means is it's the second defender that comes over to guard that person that passed their primary defender. Okay, they got past. Okay, great. All right, Rich has a hand up.
So I took the quiz for the second module tonight.
Okay. Mhm.
And I didn't go back. I went to go back. I got it wrong. It was number 13. I went to go back and find it, but I don't think the website allows me to go back and look over my quiz again, which is not a big deal.
I think I have it. I think I have the question here, Rich.
Well, let him
Is
ask
this
it,
the question?
Carl. Carl,
Say
let
it
him
again?
ask. Let him ask it.
Okay. He said he couldn't go back and see the question though.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I remember it.
Go for it.
A1 is dribbling along the sideline and makes contact with their coach who's legally in the coaching box.
yeah.
A1 never, some comment about,
Let me read it because you got it. You're right, Rich. Let me read it word for word so everybody knows what we're talking about. A1 is dribbling near the sideline and makes inadvertent contact with their head coach, who is in the coaching box. A1 maintains inbound status and then passes the ball to a teammate. The official rules this a legal play. Is the official correct? And you said what, Rich?
I said no, but I guess I don't know where the ball is when this is happening.
The status of the ball isn't the question, actually. Right? A player in bounds can touch another person out of bounds, but that doesn't make the ball out of bounds.
711.
Does that make sense? I know it sounds crazy, right? Because if I'm in bounds and Sherry's my coach and she's out of bounds and Sherry wants to give me a high five because I just made a great play, I just made a great steal, you would think that I'm out of bounds. But if I'm in bounds, more what it is, if I'm in bounds, right, and Sherry's out of bounds, Sherry's a defender and she's out of bounds, and she touches the ball, then the ball's out of bounds on Sherry. Right? I can touch a player out of bounds. I can touch another person or an object out of bounds and not be out of bounds.
Got it. Thank you.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, G, you have your hand up. Unmute
You gotta
yourself.
unmute.
Unmute.
G.
Sorry.
It's
So
okay.
the jersey, right? So tucking under the shirt. So official must tell a player to tuck in the game jersey. The official shall issue a warning to the head coach, right? So then another player, while is playing the game, and then the shirt out. So this is a different player, right?
Okay.
And then there's a rule saying that if it's the same team, so we doesn't. So I'm sorry. Yeah, can you like?
Players have to have their shirts tucked in.
Right.
Yeah.
So A1 got a warning before the game start, right? And then A2 later during the game.
No, it's not really. It's not a warning that we report to the scorer's table. Or the
No, we didn't
scoreboard.
report. We just tell the coach.
Yeah, well, you just tell the player, hey, 13, please tuck your shirt in.
Okay.
Okay, and if they continue to do it,
another player, not.
Oh, that's fine. Then you say, hey, blue 44, please tuck your shirt in. But they're usually pretty good about it. They'll tuck them in. You just have to tell them to keep tucking it in. And if it's the same player, then you can ask them to leave the game. Hey, coach, until white 14 tucks her shirt in, she's not allowed to play.
Because he's not a good listener. I got it.
She's
because
not a good listener.
She, right.
We do she's or
yeah,
they.
we in
they.
Totally forgot. Okay. So the next time any player on the same team has the game jersey untucked, that player shall leave the game until next opportunity to substitute. I think that's too much, right?
Yeah.
So we don't do that. Okay.
Not really. We just ask them to tuck it in.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just preventative officiating. You know, if it's the best player on the court, you really don't want to tell her to leave the game. You just want to be like, come on, help me out. Just keep your shirt tucked in as best you can. If the game, if the game is going, we're not going to stop the game to tell a player to tuck her shirt. All right.
But if it's jewelry or different illegal stuff, it's different story.
You said jewelry?
Jewelry?
Yeah, is it jewelry? So it's different story. So that's
jewelry.
Not...
They can't even start with jewelry. If we see jewelry before you start, it's got to come out.
They need to take it out, right? Yeah.
They need to take out earrings. They need to take off the chains. They need to take off the nose rings. And there are even times they have on the belly rings. But I mean, we don't know that unless we see them lift up their jersey by chance. And you know what? I mean, you're not going to go out there and be like, can I see underneath your jersey to see if you have a belly? We're not going to do that.
Right.
But if it so happens, the girl, the shirt is untucked and she lifts it up to tuck it in, and you happen to notice the belly ring, coach, you got to take that out.
Okay. And another question. Sorry. Oh, it's my voice. Sorry, I thought someone talked. So the inadvertent whistle is the accidental whistle. That's it. No more other meaning.
And what is that? Inadvertent whistle?
Inadvertent whistle. It's, hey, you thought something was happening or you thought something was going to happen and you blew your whistle and you look around and what you thought was going to happen didn't happen. Inadvertent whistle, and you resume play from where you started. As long as there's team control and player control, or as long as there's at least team control, the ball will go back to the team that was in control of the ball.
The problem is I'm kind of confused with the inadvertent whistle with the shot clock. The reset or not reset. Did you remember? That's fine. If you know.
Okay, so what are you confusing with inadvertent whistle? Like, what's your connection between inadvertent whistle and shot clock?
Yeah, in the model 2, talking about that stop shot clock and not reset it if the inadvertent whistle blew out and then the team control or lose, something like that.
I think I know what she's saying. So A1 shoots the ball. The ball is in the air, okay? The official blows their whistle. It's an inadvertent whistle. The official doesn't have anything. It was a mistake. And then we have an air ball. The ball does not hit the rim. So when we have a try for goal, there is no team possession, correct? There's nothing. And now that it's an air ball, it didn't hit the rim. So we have to go to the AP arrow. And when we go to the alternating possession arrow, and it goes back to team A, they're the ones that shot the ball, okay, try for goal. They get what's left on the shot clock. We don't reset it for them.
Because AP is get into that team, so we not
Correct.
reset.
Correct. Now, if that AP arrow was for team B, team B would get a new 30-second shot clock because
Got
we're
it.
changing possession. We're changing possession. Okay.
One more question, disqualifying foul, what is it?
Disqualifying foul is, wait a second, Will, wait a second. Wait a second.
You're like, I'm good.
Okay, a disqualifying foul is any time that a player is not allowed to continue to play in the game. So it could occur from them having 5 personal fouls. It can be an intentional foul or 2 intentional fouls, or 1 player substitute technical foul, 1 intentional foul. They're disqualified from the game.
I'm not sure if that's what she's asking, Sherry. I think she's more asking the definition of a disqualifying foul.
Yeah.
No,
it's-
Right,
I understand now. Yeah, that's what I want to know, Kyle. Thank you. Yeah, I don't understand because I never used it in high school, this word. So I just
Disqualifying.
trying to connect it with the
Yep.
high school rule.
It's when they're not allowed to continue to play in the game because they have 5 personal fouls or they've have a disqualified, 2 technical fouls.
And
So-
can I have one more, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Sorry. So this year, the player control foul and team control foul for high school, we can do only this. We don't
No,
do that anymore, right? So in IABO,
Wait, where are you from? Can I just check, where are you from again?
Virginia.
Okay, so you do federation rules for boys and girls.
NFS, yes. Yes.
NFHS rules for boys and girls.
So this,
Okay.
yeah, this year we don't do player control foul like that. So
Oh,
we
right.
only do
It's
this.
a new mechanic.
Yeah,
This is a
Right.
player control foul, and this is used to be a team control foul. But now they don't allow you to do that because I don't know what it is. But then I read the book, and seems like the color is still the same.
Nope.
You don't
We
have
go
this
up.
at all. You have
No,
this.
we
Let
go
me-
up
let
and we
me-
punch out.
Let me tell you something, G. The women's rules and mechanics are so much more conducive to game flow. We don't have any extra movement. We don't have to, when we have a player control or a team control foul, we put up our fist and we do the punch. All right? We don't have to go here and here or here and here. All right? Which is what they do in federation. We don't have to stop the clock on out of bounds. We don't have to stop the clock on a 10-second or a 5-second violation. We don't do long switches, which is I'm the lead, Sherry's the trail. I call an offensive foul or a player control foul. I have to go all the way to the table, report, and then go all the way to the other side of the court, and then Sherry has to come do my position. When we call an offensive foul, and that's what we call it, we don't call it a player or team control foul. When we call an offensive foul, if I'm the lead, I step out, make sure the player's clear, I report, blue 11, offensive foul, I go back and I inbound. And you'll learn that as we go along, especially when we get into mechanics and stuff like that. In my opinion, and it's not just because I do both. And in New York, we do Federation for boys, National Federation rules for boys, and we do NCAA for girls. And I so much more love the NCAA women's mechanics than I do the Federation mechanics. I hope that answers your question and helps you out.
Yes,
other questions?
thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Will,
That sounds
Will has a
great.
question. Will has a question.
No, wait, no, I don't. Like, it was just a stimulation moment for me. You're good.
Okay.
You want to start showing those plays?
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. give me a minute to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this.
All right, we're gonna show some clock situations.
I
and
hope,
hopefully.
hopefully. Okay, wait a second. Oh, look at this, Carl.
All right, I
Can
see
they
your
see it?
email. I
Can
see
they
your
see it?
email.
What?
I just see your email. And I see the 2 emails that I sent you with the plays.
Okay, can you guys see this?
Just your email. If you're running the plays, you don't see it.
No, Carl, I downloaded it.
All right, then you have to go to where you're downloading it, because right now all I'm seeing is your emails.
Oh, that's not cool. Okay, hold a second. Oh, I got it. Okay, how about now? Can
Go
you,
email. Oh, there we go.
huh?
All right, that's 2. That's play 2. That's fine.
Can we do this one?
All right. So, yep.
Yeah, hold
So
on
in
a
this,
second.
let me see if I remember what happened here.
Or do you want me to go to the other one?
No, we can start here. That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So right now our game clock is at 1:34 and the shot clock is at 18 seconds. I believe we had an out of bounds play and we're inbounding on the sideline opposite the table. I am currently the lead on the play. And my 2 partners, you see I have a trail and we have the C that's table side. So let's let it run, Sherry.
Okay. Wait a second. Come on. Oh, wait a second. I think I have to move this. I have to move this. Here we go.
Stop it right there. So our C, who was engaged, right, he noticed that our clock nor our shot clock started. And if you can see from the bottom of the screen, I know this is early in the game. We're in the first quarter, 1:34 left in the first quarter, 18 seconds left on the shot clock, and it's a 10-3 game. The away team is winning. So our C was engaged. All 3 plays, and I hope we can see all 3. All 3 plays are from this game. Before the game started, our timer, our official timer, told us this was like the first time that she did the clock, and she wasn't really sure how to do it. So we tried to make sure that we were there to help her out. All right. So we saw the shot clock didn't start, the game clock didn't start. The C blew the whistle, went to the timer, and he said, all right, about 3 seconds wearing up the clock. And if you let the play run back, it was about 3 seconds. So what we have to do in this situation is it was at 1:34. We got to put it to 1:31. And then the shot clock, we have to put it at 15 seconds. And then we resume play from the closest spot to where the ball was. So let's just let it run through, Sherry. So the ball's in, 1, 2, 3. We have a whistle. You see he blows his hand to stop the clock. He goes over to talk to the table. Right? I get the ball.
Go ahead, Carl. So you see
I
that,
get the ball.
who was the referee on the game, Carl?
Say it again.
Who was the referee on the game?
I want to say it was the inbounding official.
Okay, my point to that is,
I can't recall.
but my point to that is, it doesn't matter whether you're the referee or not at this level. Any one of us can go to the table and make that correction. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Yes?
Now bring it back to the beginning, Sherry, if you don't mind. Right now, as we discussed, we should all be looking at the clock, right? We should all be looking at the clock. As I said, I'm the lead, right? If you play it, I have somewhat of a competitive matchup with blue 33 and the player in white in front of her. right? They're close. It might not be competitive, but it's a matchup that I got to keep my eye on. Right now, it's competitive, right? So I got to keep my eye on that, right? So I need to trust my partners, my trail and my C, to make sure that they're looking at the clock, right? Because my C, if we bring it back one more time, Sherry. Right, the C really doesn't have a competitive matchup, right? There's nobody really in the C's primary. The C's primary is from that opposite, from the angle we're looking at, opposite free throw lane line, down to the end line, and all the way over to his sideline, right? So there's no players really that he needs to keep his eye on, right? Literally the only competitive matchup on the court is mine, right? There's nobody really close to each other. Let it run, Cherry, and they'll see. All right, so it's running. I have a competitive matchup in the post. Even the ball is being moved from side to side. Nobody else has a competitive matchup. So this is a great get by the C. This is a C that realizes, all right, I don't have anything going on. Let me make sure I know where my clock is, right? So the C checks out the clock. He realizes, hey, when we stopped, we were at 134. We're still at 134, 3 seconds into the play. The clock didn't start. We need to take 3 seconds off the game clock and the shot clock. Any questions on that play? All right, this is which play, Sherry? Is this play
Okay,
one
hold on,
or
where's my, oh God, I need to get, shoot.
this is actually another play. Brother, I know what play this is.
Can you see this?
Yes,
You can see it?
yes.
Okay,
All right, again, 152 in the first quarter. This is what, 20 seconds after or 20 seconds before our other play. Now we're inbounding in the backcourt. The ball's coming up the court. If we had the sound on, you would hear a whistle blows about right now. And the whistle actually comes from me as the lead, right? And if you run it back a little bit, Sherry, right again, right? The whistle blows about right here, right? I have no competitive matchup. Knowing what I know from the beginning of the game, from what the timer told us, hey, I'm new. I haven't done the clock in a while. I'm paying attention to the clock. I'm seeing what's going on. 3 seconds, and again, it was about 3 seconds that ran off before the players got up the court. We started at 1 minute 52 seconds. The shot clock was at 30. We took 3 seconds off, and we start from there. And again, like Sherry said, doesn't matter who's the R in the game. Anybody can fix this timing error or timing mistake. Anybody can fix it.
okay. Questions about
Were
this?
you able to play, Sherry, or no?
No, it's not there. It wasn't there.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't see it come in. Yeah, it didn't come in. Did you send it to my other email? Or you sent it to this?
Hold on, let me see.
Oh, Sherry, like I see play 2 over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what we did. Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah, we only had 2 plays.
The other one was a bit longer. Let me see if I could figure this one out.
Okay. So we have any questions about these so far? Rick, you're good with that? Andre? Alicia, you guys are all good? Okay. Beck, you're good? Anthony?
Jerry, I have a quick question here. Carl.
Go ahead.
So in that situation, so that happened twice. I don't know if it happened anymore during that game, but as a crew, did you mention anything either the AD or the assigner or game your game management to say, hey, we got to get this fixed for the next time?
We just try to look. You have to. If there's one thing you got to understand is that the table crew is part of our crew, right? They're part of our team. It doesn't matter that the person who's running the clock is most likely been hired by either hired or part of the home team. It doesn't matter the person who's doing the home book is probably, one of the team managers, somebody that's part of the home team. And it doesn't matter the person who's doing the away book is part of the away team. When they're on that court, they're part of our team, right? So we want to bring them back. We want to try to work with them and talk to them. If it gets to a point where it's just really outrageous or egregious, then yeah, we have to talk to somebody in the home team. We have to talk to the coach and say, you know what? Maybe we might need to change our timer. Maybe we might need to change our shot clock operator. If it's an issue with the scorebook, you know what, coach? Maybe we need to get somebody on the scorebook. And if they're ever on that table, no matter who it is, home, away, scorer, timer, and yelling at us, then they gotta go. Like that's one situation where you go to them and you might be nice and give them a warning and say, hey, you're part of our team. We shouldn't hear that. All right. If you want to cheer and yell at us, then go on the opposite side of the court. And you could cheer or yell as much as you want. But when you're here and you're working the clock or you're working the book or you're working the shot clock, you're part of our team. Right? You want to clap and say, hey, great play or great call or whatever it is, that's fine. But the second they start getting negative or derogatory, you know what? You got to go.
Well, and you got to be nice about it. You got to be really nice about it. You can't say, hey, you can't do that. You got to go. You've got to be more diplomatic about it. And yes, in this particular, like, if it was one of the leagues that I ref for, I could put that in my game notes. Issues with the shot clock operator tonight. Shot clock didn't start 5 times, so you might be able to say something to your assigner about that if it's really, really bad. Because it makes your game really, really hard, because when you have a bad shot clock operator or a timer, now that's just one added thing that you've got to concentrate even more to make sure that the clock and the shot clock have started on time. And it really takes a lot out of you, because you've got to concentrate on that more than you've got to watch the plays. So it's tough. Can you get it or no, Carl? We only have a minute or so.
We had so much more we wanted to do, but you guys are so good today. You had questions. You were so engaged. This was awesome. This was an awesome session today.
Yes, thank you all for great class tonight. Thank you.
You enjoy it? That's great. Well, thank you.
You know what? You guys made it great. You guys made it great tonight for sure. This is what we want. This is what we need from you guys. We want the questions. We want you guys to be engaged. And look, these first couple modules, they're really tough because there's not many plays that we really have that we can show you guys based off of uniforms or clock malfunctions or scorers issues or stuff like that. But when we really start getting into the meat and potatoes, when we start getting into violations, oh boy, I got a bunch of plays to send you guys. And again, like I always say, we're not going to share plays with you where we're always correct. That's not how we're going to learn. All right. And look, you shouldn't go out and officiate and think that you're getting, if you go out and officiate and think you get every single play in your game correct, you're not officiating correctly. All right. There's no referee in the world, from the top officials to the bottom of officials, that get every single play correct. It's not going to happen. All right. I promise you. And they say, if you referee a perfect game, hang up your shirt, hang up your whistle, and hang up your sneakers, because you'll never do it again. All right. And me personally, I love this game way too much. I love what I do way too much to officiate a perfect game. All right. If I can get 92, 95%, that's a good night. All right. Scott Foster, one of the greatest officials in the world. Terry knows I like him a lot. He's one of the greatest officials in the world. in my opinion, and I've heard from many others that have observed him, right? He gets 97 to 99.8% of his calls correct every night. All right. Still not perfect. It's close, but still not perfect. And he'll never be perfect. And it doesn't matter what sport it is, hockey, football, baseball,
He
basketball.
thinks he is.
No, huh?
He thinks he is.
There's no, Sherry knows him personally, so that's why we joke a lot. But there's no official in the world in any game that has ever refereed a perfect game. And if you strive to referee if you think, look, if you walk off the court and say, I got every single call right, you already lost. You really did. You really did. Every game I watch, every game I watch that's recorded, every game I officiate that's recorded, I watch it when I get home. I clip plays. I share plays with Sherry. I share plays with Kerry. I share plays with my other friends. I have 2 or 3 mentors that I share plays with. And I want them to critique me. I want them to critique my mechanics, my positioning, even my judgment. Why did I get this call wrong? Or why do you think I got this call wrong? Or why did I get this call right? I even say, you know what? I guessed on this call. Why did I get it right? Right? And sometimes it's just a feel of the game and what's going on. All right, but you know what? We're gonna strive to get you guys good, to get you guys great. But always remember, you're never gonna be perfect. All right? Just like the players aren't perfect, just like the coaches aren't perfect, right? Players miss layups, players miss free throws, players miss open jump shots. Coaches call the wrong plays. We're gonna get stuff wrong. All right, so don't be afraid to get a play wrong.
Okay. Okay, so for next week, we've got referee duties, substitutes, head coach's rules and scoring. Oh, great. I don't know if we're gonna have a lot of plays on that either. All right, we'll try to come up with some plays.
We had some great questions. So this is what we need you all to keep doing. All right, keep reading. Do as much of the modules as you can. I know you can't go back over and take the test, but if there's some way you can copy and paste the questions or even write down the questions in a notebook so you have them for later and you could take the questions again later. One of the best ways I learned is by taking tests over and over and over and over again. Sherry and I have to take an NCAA test every single year, right? We just went over our test and it was 75 questions and we can't get more than, 5 wrong, 6 wrong?
I don't know.
You know what? It's 75 questions and we can't get more than 7 or 8 wrong and we fail and we don't get in the schedule for the season. So trust me, we really take this avocation seriously. We love it. We have a passion for it. And we hope you guys share that same passion. Because you know what? In a couple of years from now, we'll all be sitting on a Zoom call. We want all of us to be sitting on a Zoom call, taking that NCAA test together.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So are you able to copy and paste it? Anybody or no? No? Or just take pictures of it. Take pictures of your quizzes. Gee, did you copy and paste it?
Sorry, what do you mean copy and paste?
So
when you take the quiz, can you highlight the questions, copy and paste it into another
No,
document?
once you're done at the end, there's a printing. You can print it out. Once you're done.
You can
you can?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, guys. So come ready to with questions on what is it? Sunday? We're Sunday back here on Sunday.
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah, great. We can all be dressed up. All right. Anything else?
I'll play an official. I'll be dressed up as an official.
You're so goofy. All right, guys.
Are we gonna do it or no? I don't want to do it by myself.
What? Dress up?
What's that?
Yes.
You want to dress up?
Feel free. You want to dress up? Anybody wants to dress up next week? Feel free. Let's have fun.
I don't want to be by myself, please.
Rick is gonna do it. Gee, Rick is gonna do it. Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yes. Let's try to have some apple cider on here for Halloween. Maybe let's yes.
That sounds good.
All
right, I'm gonna stop recording.